welcome to this edition of EMS Now Up Close. I am Eric Miscoll with EMS Now. And my pleasure again today to speak with Joel Scutchfield. He's the General Manager of SMT Business Operations and Director of Sales with Koh Young America. Joel, it's good to see you again. How are you, sir?
I am very well. Thank you, Eric. Great to see you as well. The year is quickly moving by, is it?
Oh my God, yeah. First quarter ends today or tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's been a blur, and I see no end in sight, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, I guess you be the judge, right?
Well, we can discuss that at the end of the year, Joel.
That's right.
You know,
the reality is we're just getting older faster. I guess that's really what I'm saying. So,
that's it. And, actually, to that point, what I want to, I brought you on today to either confirm or deny this rumor I keep hearing in the industry that there's actually through-hole still being done in electronics manufacturing.
Oh my
goodness. What are you hearing?
Yeah, there is. Not only is there still through-hole being done, there's actually a lot of through-hole still being done. I was actually in a shop a few weeks ago up in the Midwest, and it was like stepping back in time because, we had been told 30 years ago that this stuff's not going to last, another 5 years and everything's going to be surface mount and all these emerging technologies. They literally still had the old sequencers running to sequence their axial components for auto insertion, and you could hear the ka-chunk of automatic insertion systems in the background and wave soldering and you name it. So it's still out there for sure. And as we go forward, certainly where the low hanging fruit has been captured on the SMD inspection side in particular, the through hole piece becomes more and more prevalent in terms of what our customers are asking for. Additionally to that, we have a big push towards the what I would call even the true back end. Through hole, yes, I guess you could technically classify that as back end. It's after the SMT processing for the most part with either wave or selective. But then there's a whole nother entity, especially with people building control modules like the folks in the automotive sector, the industrial sector, et cetera, where they're looking at everything from ECU modules, transmission controls, four-wheel drive modules, pump control, shifting. All of this, is basically in a module with a connector on the side or multiple connectors, and they need to look at the pins within those connectors. They need to look at various labels and verifying barcodes, not necessarily reading barcodes, but verifying that they are what they're supposed to be. A lot of things that are being done now with either manual applications or in some cases extruded aluminum kludge type apparatus or something put together by a local integrator, et cetera, where you're taking all these different parts. So we see both as an opportunity. Certainly the through-hole inspection for both top side and bottom side still in the PCB state, right? Where again, we're looking at everything from blowholes and pinholes, solder balls, bridging, insufficient, excessive on the volume side, solder fillets, missing and offset when it comes to pins, and then certainly on the top side, polarities, part markings, presence, coplanarity, all those types of things. So there's opportunity there, and fortunately we have systems designed to be able to handle both. So my thought was maybe we could just talk a little bit about both of those today, and I can share a little bit on what we're doing there. And
because I think it's interesting because what you're saying is the trend that's been going on, which is that the automation of the post reflow, right? That's where everything's very nicely automated. We got all the robotics going, all the machines. You guys play in that area as well, obviously, and technology is getting better on there as well, right? It's improving, but there's been this big push, and some of that may be driven by workforce, shortages and what have you. There's a big push to automate that post reflow where a lot of this happens. But with that comes challenges, right? Because you got a mix of components, you got all these things going on. But you're in a position to hopefully help people with this.
Yeah, we certainly feel that way. And again, when we break it down, I guess let's start with the classic PCB processing applications. So I mentioned top and bottom,
Yep.
you know, and all the various things that we're looking for. The other challenges there are height, component height, with regards to the through hole. Still have connectors, large capacitors, et cetera. Weight is also a consideration. So we have to take all of this into account, which we have certainly. So we have the high height capability. We have the additional weight capability beyond what a normal PCB would typically consist of. And then we build in mechanisms like the opportunity to automatically invert the board within the machine. So we can do top and bottom side processing within the same machine load, which again saves from the need to buy an additional system if you are in a continuous flow application. So again, that's something that's getting a lot of attention right now. The other piece to that is we have some customers that are requesting the capability of doing both. We want to do through hole and surface mount in that same single machine load. So we have some hybrid capabilities. We also have within that the ability to measure and inspect pin technology proper, pins, terminals, fork pins, etc. So where we have customers with an abundance of pins or terminals on the board, we use a slightly different inspection angle because of the reflectivity properties of those devices to basically inspect in full 3D for height, perpendicularity, distance pin to pin, inner diameter, outer diameter of fork terminals, et cetera. And then kind of getting into that true back end that I was talking about earlier, where now we have potentially a module, something like this, where if you can see that we have a connector on the side, and then an automotive module could be for any of the aforementioned applications that I noted, where they want to look at the pin length or the perpendicularity, in some cases distance from pin to pin or distance from pin to the side of the connector shroud, and then additionally other features on that module. So again, we have both. We have capabilities for handling both of those applications. The other thing that really
within the same machine.
Well, so we do have a couple of different flavors there as well, Eric. So again, when we're talking about the PCB proper, back to the basic PCB, before we put it in that module that I just showed, typically we're looking at our traditional AOI systems, the Zenith Alpha, et cetera. And we can equip that again with the high height, with the inverter, and all the features that our AOI technology has been known for from the beginning. 3D completely, Moray interferometry used to its fullest extent, et cetera, and all of the smart factory tools and capabilities that go along with that. When we move to the module side of things, or to the PCB that does have a much higher content of pins and terminals, we move to what we refer to as our Koh Young P3 pin inspection system. And that's the one that I noted has a slightly different inspection angle to overcome the reflective properties of those types of devices, but also still has the ability to do both the pin inspection and surface mount inspection, again, within that same machine load. It's that machine also that we utilize in those back-end applications that I just referred to with the module processing, where again, the primary focus is to look at those pins, inspect the connectors, but then be able to adapt and modify that system easily to look at some of the other features that customers need to see. As I said, labels, barcode labels, again, reading, maybe enclosure, media, and on and on. So the beauty of taking that approach is really moving toward the plug and play approach. Again, these operations are being performed today, whether it be by a system configured by a local integrator, where they're combining cameras and other things to provide all these checks. Maybe it's a contact confirmation on the pins, electrical contact, something of that nature. And many of these are hybrid systems where they're not fully automated, right? So they're semi-automatic, let's say, where the operator is loading, unloading manually. And the issue there is, number one, you have the opportunity to have just a myriad of different systems on the shop floor. So if no two are alike, you can imagine what the maintenance hardware the maintenance task is like, trying to maintain all of the hardware from system to system. Combine that with the labor situation that we're all very aware of today, and the need for more standardization, and finally the smart factory element, where now I want to be able to record all of this information, these inspection results, and have those same results feed into the K-Smart, let's say, in our case, dashboard, like all of our other systems. You can't get that with the homegrown or the locally made integrator type developed system. So, we're offering a plug and play solution for those applications where we can do just enough customization to handle the needs of again, the automotive folks. Let's start with those, building all those various modules, et cetera, and then giving them still the opportunity to streamline maintenance, to take advantage of all the inspection technology that we offer in terms of feeding that information back into a smart factory repository, a results repository, and overcoming at the same time the need for excessive labor to either operate the machine or maintain the machine. So again, it's a product of the times, listening to what our customers are asking for, and certainly always looking for ways to adapt our technology to those needs.
You mentioned the automotive sector there, but what other sectors are you seeing this most prevalent in? I mean, in automotive, I'm assuming it's both EV and ICE, right? So it's both sides. And
exactly, yeah, it absolutely is, and that really applies, both to the through hole and the back end module inspection. The through hole side is really wide open, Eric. It's everybody. It's industrial controls. It's mil-aero. As we said at the beginning of our conversation, there's still a lot of through hole technology being used out there, and again, in some cases, because of legacy, because of power requirements, it's never going to go completely away. So we have to have that capability. On the back end, on the module side, it's automotive. In some cases, it's mil-aero. It's aircraft engine controls. It's industrial controls of any kind that would go into some type of a module with either a side or top side connector that is used for its primary interface. So there's a lot of it. There's a lot, and that's why we're making that effort to address that need. We've been requested to step up to that calling, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Hey, and the other piece, and you've been talking about the optical, and then you referenced the K-Smart there, but part of this is obviously part of the magic, the secret sauce is the AI incorporated in all this, right? And the algorithms that you have and that are programmed to do all this. Speak to that and tell us about that.
So it's really applied the same way it is with the front end, if you will, and specifically for the applications we're talking about today, it's really more centric to programming, right? So being able to apply auto programming algorithms to through hole packages, that's kind of the next wave, if you will. This is again the same things that are being asked for and have been asked for years with the standard surface mount processing are certainly being required for anything with regards to through holes. So, we continue to apply where we can. As far as feedback mechanisms and feedback opportunities, certainly with the pin technology, we can provide feedback to an inline process where we are tied to a system potentially that is inserting automatically terminals, and where we find that offset does not match with the requirement. Maybe the pin-to-pin distances are off. Maybe we have height irregularities. Maybe there's something like this going on with perpendicularity. There's certainly the potential there to provide a feedback loop to those types of systems. So these are really more roadmap items as we now start to segue into the back end. But certainly, we'll continue to apply where we can the artificial intelligence to just further the advent of a fully maximized use smart factory. Let's say it in those terms.
And is it the AI that helps with kind of the false calls? Because I think that's one of the issues with it used to be with AOIs. They'd always say there was somebody there had to sit there and say, kind of do this and let everything move. But does the AI, I think, is what helps speed that up as well.
It absolutely does. Yeah, the smart review tool, as we call it with our systems, is basically doing just that. It's really using the machine learning, the deep learning to understand what the process is yielding, balance that against the tolerances that have been determined, and automatically make judgments on whether that is real or not. And really what the idea here is to minimize the amount of work that the operator needs to do from a review perspective, right? So when they look at something, they know, the system has basically taken care of everything except these 2 or 3 little abnormalities that for whatever reason are still out of range. Okay, so they are in the truest sense, those are true calls that need to be repaired or dealt with in some way, shape, or form. But the idea here with the smart review tool and the use of artificial intelligence is to deliver just that, right? You don't have to make determinations. You don't have to make judgments. You don't have to reclassify one defect as another. The system does that for you automatically. And that's certainly something that we have available for, or soon we'll have available in the latest version of Smart Review for the SMT side of the processing initiative. Throughhole is, again, that's being developed as we go to be able to provide those exact same results. That's the end game, and we know to be fully effective on the backside and with the through-hole inspection that we have to have those capabilities with those systems in those processing locations as well.
Okay. So, and for our viewers, to help explain or differentiate between the Zenith series and your KYP3, if somebody has quite a bit or variable amount of through-hole in there, which systems are you recommending for which kind of manufacturing styles?
Sure. So for the traditional through-hole inspection, the Zenith system is the system that we're going to promote as the most complete option to take care of that particular application. The Zenith system, again, has up to 8 Moire projectors in combinations of analog and digital from system to system. So, we can modulate height, we can modulate frequency, we can measure high height up to 25 millimeters with the DLPs where those are being utilized. It's more, centric to the solder inspections, et cetera, that would be involved with through-hole in particular, or any hybrid application. Whereas with the P3, again, we're looking more at pin related, right? So it's height, it's distance. Yes, solder inspection is certainly available and capable, and customers are using it for that. But again, if it's traditional through-hole, top and bottom, the Zenith series would be would be the systems that we would promote. And then likewise, if it's a very high content of pins or connectors, terminals, et cetera, then we move to the P3.
Move to the P3, and that can be done both inline or standalone.
It can, and that's a great point. So we have the situation I described earlier is more of a, in most cases, more of a semi-automatic approach, right? So it's not your traditional, horizontal board processing application. So we can handle that in that way. Certainly, we can also use a Rexroth fixture where we can process the boards vertically, still in an inline mode. So we basically have our A1 version of the KYP3 machine, which is basically the inline version. And again, we can process in the standard horizontal plane or vertically, where now the connector is up here, and I'm moving multiple connectors in this Rexroth carriage through the machine, right? So still inline processing completely. Or we can move to the M configuration, where now I've got a front load capability, almost like a drawer, where I'm putting a module in either again horizontally or vertically, depending on what I'm looking at, and have that basically retract into the system for inspection, and then be fed back to the operator for load unload, and in either a shuttle type situation, or depending on what the application is, we've got various options that we can offer in that way. So having both is certainly very helpful, because there are both applications out there in which need to be addressed.
Yeah, good for you. And kudos to Koh Young again too. I mean, I'm always impressed by how you guys kind of respond to the needs of the industry. I think that's how you started. That's the history of the company, and it continues. So,
and that's the key to growth, Eric. I think that's really the bottom line here. And we have made a concerted effort to really look hard at how we can apply this technology into areas beyond just the standard PCB inspection, whether it be SPI, pre or post reflow AOI. Where else can we take this technology where there's a need, and where there's a customer calling, and where there's a growth opportunity as a company? And I think, in this inspection systems world, that's how you grow. You have to continue to reinvent. You have to continue to look for ways to apply the technology where there's a need. And if you're fortunate enough to find a heavy need with substantial growth opportunity, then I think you really you've hit the target. And that's what we feel like we've done with these two systems in particular. And there's other things going on, as behind the door, that are looking at other ways to apply the technology in other areas of that back end and beyond. So it's really just the mode of operation here. That's how we're wired and how we operate.
Right. No. And again, that's always impressed me about Koh Young. Before I let you go, sir, is there anything else that we didn't talk about in relationship to the whole the through hole, and what that you feel compelled to still add here?
I think we covered the lion's share of it. I guess I'll leave you with the message that I typically leave you with, which is, if you have an application, anybody watching has an application or has more questions, so certainly reach out to us. You can find us at Koh Young America, all one word.com. And we've recently brought on a couple of additional regional sales managers that are going to help us be even more responsive and be able to help take on more of these types of projects, work with you to get you where you need to be. That's really where it all starts. We welcome the interaction and hope that we'll have a response to this, a very positive response to this for both of those applications as we really start to now charge hard down both of those paths.
Yeah. Well, Joel, thanks for coming on and confirming a rumor. We appreciate that.
It's not going away. Yeah, it's not going away.
Not going away. So submit your rumors. Next time we speak to Joel, we'll ask him about this too. So
what else we're hearing out there, right? Or seeing.
Yeah.
That's the part of the beauty of being out there. But it's funny, we have all these advancements going on and, advanced packaging, and we've talked about that in the past. And so that's the other side of what we're working on. So we're kind of working on the future and a little bit of the past at the same time, right? If you take it to that extreme.
Yeah, no. I appreciate that. And I always appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. I wish you a good close to the quarter tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be getting
really appreciate that.
results and continued success to you and Koh Young America.
Thank you very much, Eric. It's my pleasure, and enjoy doing this anytime we can. Stay well.
We'll do it again. Take care, sir.